All right, so are you ready to explore how the food we eat impacts our immune system?
I think a lot of people might be surprised by how much influence our diet really has.
Yeah, it's definitely a hidden world, and we're going to unpack some of its secrets today using some interesting research from medical news today and frontiers in immunology and nutrition.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. So we'll be talking about things you might not immediately connect to immunity, like vitamins, probiotics, even cholesterol.
Exactly. We'll be exploring those assumptions and maybe even debunking some myths along the way.
I love it. Okay, let's jump right in. Let's start with something that's in a lot of diets, but maybe not so good for our immune systems.
Oh, yeah.
Medical News Today highlighted a study from 2012 that found a link between high blood sugar and weaker immune responses,
hmm
especially for adults over 85.
That's a key finding, and it shows how important blood sugar management is as we age. But here's the thing, it's not just about those later years. Excess sugar can really mess with the balance of bacteria in your gut, leading to something called dysbiosis.
Dysbiosis. Now, remind me, what exactly happens in the gut when we have this imbalance?
Well, it's like an ecosystem gone wrong.
Mm.
The bad bacteria start to outnumber the good ones, and it throws off the whole delicate balance.
Right.
And then you have consequences like bloating, discomfort, digestive issues. Not a recipe for a strong immune system.
Right, because your gut is like the command center for so much of your health.
Exactly.
If things are off there, it's going to impact your defenses.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So enjoying a sweet treat here and there is fine, but keeping an eye on your overall sugar intake is a good move for your immune system and your well-being in general.
That's great advice.
No.
Okay, let's switch gears now to a nutrient that's been getting a lot of attention lately for its role in immunity, vitamin D. We call it the sunshine vitamin because our bodies make it when we're out in the sun, right?
Right.
But what's its connection to a strong immune response?
You can think of vitamin D as a signal booster for your innate immune system. That's your first line of defense against anything trying to get in. It helps key players like monocytes and macrophages to do their job better, which is basically engulfing harmful microbes.
Oh, so it's like sending in reinforcements.
Yeah, you got it. And it
Wow.
goes even further. Vitamin D also helps your body produce these tiny weapons called antimicrobial peptides.
Okay.
They are like tiny soldiers that fight specific bacteria, viruses, or even fungi.
So not only do you have more immune cells, they also have the right tools for the battle.
Precisely. Vitamin D is really a multitasker when it comes to a well-rounded immune response.
Fascinating. Now, vitamin E is another one we hear a lot about, especially for its antioxidant powers. But our research says it does more than fight free radicals, especially as we age.
Absolutely. While those antioxidant properties are important, what's really interesting is how vitamin E can make T cell function better, especially as we get older.
T cells are like the special forces of the immune system, right?
Exactly. They're the ones that target specific threats with precision. Vitamin E helps them do their job even better. It keeps their cell membranes strong, which is important for communication between immune cells and boosts their overall effectiveness.
So it's like making sure they have the best communication and the toughest armor.
Exactly. And here's another thing that's important, particularly for older adults whose immune systems naturally weaken as they age. Vitamin E helps lower the production of PGE2, a molecule that can suppress those T cell responses.
So it's like clearing the way for T cells to do their best work, which becomes even more critical as we get older.
Exactly. It highlights how important vitamin E is, not just for its antioxidant benefits, but for its unique role in healthy aging and a strong immune system throughout life.
This next one I'm really curious about because we usually associate it with heart health omega-3 fatty acids. But turns out they play a surprising role in regulating inflammation throughout the body, which, as we know, is closely tied to immune function.
Absolutely. You're right. Omega-3s are really important for managing inflammation. While they are essential for heart health, their ability to calm things down is super powerful for your immune system as well.
So they're like peacekeepers coming in to cool things down when inflammation gets out of control.
That's one way to look at it. They help to lower the production of pro-inflammatory molecules, those signals that trigger inflammation in the body.
Like turning down the volume on the inflammatory response.
Exactly. And it's not just about suppressing the bad stuff. Omega-3s also help create resolvins, which are specialized molecules that actively resolve inflammation and help restore balance.
So they not only stop the fire, but also clean up and rebuild afterward.
That's it. And here's what's really fascinating. Omega-3s also influence how T cells, our special forces, differentiate and function.
Wait, so they're involved in training those T cells too?
You could say that. It's remarkable how much influence these fatty acids have on the workings of your immune system.
That's incredible.
Hmm.
It really underscores why getting enough omega-3s is so important, not just for your heart, but for managing inflammation and supporting your overall immune system.
Absolutely. It's a perfect example of how what you eat can have a ripple effect on your whole body, impacting all sorts of different systems.
Let's move on to another hot topic these days, probiotics. We often hear about them being good for gut health, but what's their connection to the immune system?
Probiotics are those good bacteria that live in your gut, and they do a lot more than just keep your digestion running smoothly. They have a wider impact on your immune function throughout your whole body.
So not just local heroes, they're like global ambassadors for good health.
That's a great way to put it. Probiotics interact with your gut lining, which, as we know, is a key player in immune function. They influence the activity of the immune cells there, helping to maintain a healthy balance.
So they're like tiny diplomats working to foster good communication and cooperation between your gut and your immune system.
Precisely. And some studies have even shown that specific probiotic strains can boost the activity of NK cells.
Now, those are the natural killer cells, right?
You got it.
What do they do exactly?
They're like an elite rapid response team, always on the lookout for threats. NK cells are a type of white blood cell that act as frontline defenders against infections and even tumors.
So probiotics are like their support system, making sure those NK cells are strong and ready for action.
Exactly. It highlights how closely connected your gut health is to the strength of your immune system.
All right, let's move on to the last piece of this puzzle. And this might surprise a lot of people. Cholesterol. It often gets a bad rap, but it actually plays a vital role in our immune system.
It's true, cholesterol is often demonized, but it's actually a crucial building block for essential hormones, and it plays a surprisingly important role in immune function.
So it's not all bad.
Not at all. For instance, cholesterol is essential for the formation of lipid rafts.
Lipid rafts, what are those?
You can think of them as meeting points on your cell membranes where immune cells gather to exchange information. They're essential for communication and activation within the immune system.
Oh, so cholesterol is like the architect building the communication networks for a strong immune response.
Exactly. And here's another important function. Cholesterol is involved in the production of antibodies.
Those are the targeted proteins that neutralize harmful invaders, right?
Exactly. They act like guided missiles seeking out and destroying specific threats.
It's incredible how often cholesterol is overlooked when it's actually a key player in how our immune system works.
It truly is a complex system.
This has been so fascinating. We've covered so much today, from sugar to vitamin D, vitamin E, omega-3s, probiotics, and now cholesterol. It really paints a picture of how connected nutrition and immunity are.
It's like piecing together a puzzle, and we're just getting started. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into the roles of minerals, bioavailability, and more. Welcome back. It's amazing what we're learning about how what we eat and how our bodies defend themselves are connected.
Yeah, it really feels like we're discovering this whole new world.
Yeah.
And I think we only just scratched the surface with vitamins, probiotics, and even cholesterol.
It reminds us there's always more to learn, and that challenging what we think we know can lead to some pretty cool findings.
Absolutely. So we talked about these key players, but what about minerals? What role do they play in keeping our immune system strong?
Ah, minerals. They're kind of like the unsung heroes of nutrition, you know? They're absolutely crucial for all sorts of bodily functions, including a healthy immune system. Today, let's focus on 2 trace minerals that really affect how well our immune cells work: zinc and selenium.
Zinc is something we usually think of for fighting off colds, but I'm guessing it does a lot more than that.
You're right, zinc is super important for the development and function of many immune cells, like those NK cells we talked about earlier, those quick response defenders that fight infections and tumors.
So zinc basically helps make sure those NK cells are ready to go and take on any threats.
Exactly. And it goes beyond that, too. Zinc is also really important for regulating cytokines.
Cytokines, remind me again. Those are the chemical messengers that coordinate the immune response, right?
Yeah, think of them as the communication network of your immune system. Zinc makes sure those communication lines are working properly so your immune system can respond in a coordinated and effective way.
So without enough zinc, our immune system might be like an army with jumbled communication lines. Not very effective.
Exactly. Zinc is crucial for a well-organized immune response.
It makes sense. What about selenium? What does it do for our immune system?
Selenium is a powerhouse antioxidant. It helps protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals.
Like a shield that deflects harmful attacks.
That's a great way to think about it. But selenium does more than just protect. It actually helps boost the activity of certain immune cells, including those NK cells again.
Those NK cells seem like they're really important.
They play a vital role, for sure. Selenium also contributes to the production of antibodies, those targeted proteins that seek out and neutralize specific threats.
So selenium is involved in both defense and offense, protecting against damage and strengthening our ability to fight back.
Exactly. It's a crucial nutrient for keeping your immune system running at its best.
This is also fascinating. Each nutrient has its own unique role, and they all work together to create this whole intricate system of immune responses.
It's like a perfectly tuned orchestra with each instrument contributing to the harmony. And if one instrument is out of tune, the whole piece suffers.
That's a great analogy, which brings us to something important. Even if we're eating healthy foods, how can we know our bodies are actually absorbing and using all those nutrients?
That's a really important question. And it leads us to the concept of bioavailability, which is basically how much of a nutrient your body can absorb and use.
So it's not just what we eat, but what our bodies can actually do with those nutrients.
Exactly. And lots of things can affect bioavailability. Things like the form of the nutrient, other foods we eat at the same time, and even how healthy our gut is.
So two people could eat the same amount of something, but their bodies might absorb different amounts of the nutrients.
That's right. It's a complex and interesting area of research. For example, some nutrients are absorbed better when you eat them with certain foods. Like vitamin D is absorbed better when you take it with a meal that has some fat in it.
So it's not just about eating healthy, it's about knowing how to combine foods to get the most out of those nutrients.
Precisely. It's like creating a meal that both tastes good and supports your immune system.
I love that. This deep dive has been so insightful. We've explored vitamins, minerals, probiotics, even cholesterol. Feels like we're starting to understand how our immune system works and how to support it through what we eat.
It's empowering to realize we have some control over our own health and that even small changes to our diet can make a difference in how strong our immune system is.
Definitely. Now, before we wrap up part two, I want to touch on something the Frontiers in Nutrition article mentioned. The idea that there's no one right way to eat for a healthy immune system.
That's important. While there are general guidelines for healthy eating, everyone is different. Things like age, genetics, lifestyle, and even any health conditions we have can all affect how our bodies react to different foods.
So while this is a great starting point, it's really about figuring out what works for each person individually.
Exactly. It's about being involved in your own health journey, listening to your body, and making choices that support your own immune system.
I like that. It's about understanding the information and then using it to create a personalized approach to health and well-being.
Exactly. And in part 3, we'll go deeper into this idea of personalized nutrition, looking at how you can tailor your diet to support your specific immune system.
This has been incredibly insightful. Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll put it all together and explore what it means for you. Welcome back to our deep dive. It's incredible to think about everything we've discovered about the link between what we eat and how our bodies fight off threats.
It's been quite a journey. We've talked about vitamins and minerals and those probiotics. Those friendly bacteria are so important. And we even debunked some myths about cholesterol.
Right. And we learned that everyone's different in how their body uses nutrients. That bioavailability thing.
Exactly. It really highlights how much power we have to shape our health through the choices we make.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main takeaways? What can our listeners do with all this information?
The biggest takeaway is that what you eat has a huge impact on how strong your immune system is. The food you choose can either make you stronger or leave you vulnerable.
Like we're building up our immune system with every meal.
Exactly. And while supplements can be helpful, sometimes the foundation of a strong immune system is a balanced whole foods diet.
What does that look like practically? What should we be eating?
Think about colorful fruits and vegetables packed with those antioxidants that protect your cells. Then you have lean proteins, which are the building blocks for strong immune cells, and healthy fats, like the ones in oily fish and nuts, which help regulate inflammation.
So lots of variety and color.
Exactly. It's about enjoying a bunch of different nutrient-rich foods that support your body's natural defenses.
You mentioned earlier that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Of course. Things like how old you are, your genes, lifestyle, and even health conditions can affect how your body reacts to different foods. What works for one person might not work the same way for someone else.
So it's about taking this information and figuring out what works best for each person.
Exactly. It's about being involved in your own health. Pay attention to how your body feels after you eat certain foods. Do you feel good and energized or sluggish and kind of inflamed? Your body will give you clues.
It's like listening to what your body is telling you.
Exactly. And this brings us to the idea of personalized nutrition. Imagine being able to tailor your diet to specifically strengthen your own unique immune system.
Like having a custom meal plan designed to boost your immune system.
That's the idea. And with what you've learned from this deep dive, you're already on your way to figuring out what works best for you.
This has been such an amazing journey. We've learned so much about how our immune system works and how we can support it through the foods we eat.
And remember, knowledge is power. You now have the tools to make smart choices for your health and strengthen your body's defenses.
Thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay well.